on the 9th roster update, I think, and it's a Thursday. It's always on Fridays, but for whatever reason, today they decided to update the rosters, and I'm here to talk about it. Que pasa to the pack? It is Pack here. Before this video starts, please be an OG, join the pack, and subscribe, and also leave a like on the video. It helps the channel out a million. Now, I'm going to start off with the Philadelphia 76ers, as is tradition, and the only change that I found was Shake Milton -1. That was it. But I would have thought Joel Embiid would have gone up just a little bit. I think this dude is a serious MVP candidate. I think he should be like a 96 overall, but he hasn't changed. So, oh well. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Jrue Holiday -1, and that's the only change for them. Kind of a weird one. I thought he's been playing fine, but that was a decision. Bobby Portis -1 as well. So a couple drop-offs for the Bucks. But I feel like they're playing pretty good, so that's just weird. For the Chicago Bulls, Lauri Markkanen leaves the 80 overall club for the first time in quite a while. Now he's a 79 overall. He's been playing pretty rough. He did come back from injury, but it has not been getting better ever since. Kind of weird. They really need him to play better if they want any chance of making the playoffs anytime soon. So the Cavs actually got no upgrade, and I'm really surprised that Colin Sexton and Darius Garland have not gone up. Darius Garland specifically has been averaging like 21 points in the past, I think, 6 games. Like, he's been playing really good, and no change for them, which is very, very weird. This has actually been, in my opinion, kind of a weak roster update. Very little change, and if there are changes, it's very small ones. It's been a very conservative roster update, at least so far. So for the Celtics, no change, but now they have Jabari Parker on the team, who is a 75 overall. Whether or not he's going to be useful for the team, we're going to have to wait and see. For the Clippers, Paul George +1, almost back into the 90 overall club, and if I had to pick, I think he should be back in the 90 overall club. His problem has never been the regular season. It's the postseason where we don't know how good he is. So I think he's been needing to be in the 90 overall club all year. Reggie Jackson, though, +2, one of the bigger upgrades, and that's not a good sign if +2 is one of the bigger upgrades in this roster update. But Reggie Jackson's been playing good. The Kawhi's been out a couple games. Reggie Jackson has been getting good games here and there, which is what they're going to need, because they're going to need that clear third option. Okay, so for the Memphis Grizzlies, Jonathan Valanciunas +1. The reason why is because he's been averaging 21 points and 10 rebounds in the past 6 games. On top of that, Jaren Jackson Jr. has come back for the team. And then Grayson Allen, another +1. He's been going up like crazy. He's also been averaging like 18 for the Grizzlies. This team, watch out, man. Out of nowhere, they're getting really, really, really good. Out of nowhere. This is getting scary. Okay, so for the Atlanta Hawks, Bogdan is now +2 from a 79 to an 81. We were all kind of waiting to see when he was going to start going crazy. I mean, he was really good for the Kings. He was an automatic scorer. And now that the Hawks are doing better, he specifically is also starting to do better. And Danilo Gallinari. This is what the Hawks need, and that's the reason they've been winning a lot of games lately. And they're a clear favorite to make the playoffs this year in the East. So for the Heat, kind of a controversial one. Jimmy Butler +1, and then Bam -1. I don't know how you can decrease Bam when the Heat have been kind of winning lately and are clearly going to make the playoffs, in my opinion. And Bam has been playing solid, and his defense is second to none. So I don't know how you can downgrade him. I think that's kind of weird. I guess Jimmy always deserves a +1, but it's just very weird. Tyler Hero -1. He has not been putting up the numbers he was last season, especially in those playoffs. So the Heat are kind of concerned because they're thinking this superstar mentality is trying to get to his head when he's really just starting to get decent. He needs to take it seriously. I don't know. Kind of a weird situation for the Heat. So still no Terry Rozier upgrade, which is insanity. He needs to clearly be the best player on this team. It makes no sense why rating-wise he isn't, but whatever. But Miles Bridges goes +1. I think Miles Bridges is super fascinating because it's clear that he's good. Like, his athleticism is insane. He can be aggressive. He can slash, even shoot. And yet he's not a 20-point per game scorer on a team that could use a 20-point per game scorer. But the reason being is that I think he's kind of like a Jeremy Grant. Like when he was with the Nuggets, like he can do it now that we're seeing it now that he's playing really good now because everyone's hurt. But like when everyone's healthy, he just doesn't get that chance to shine, and that's what we're noticing. All right, so for the Utah Jazz, who are finals contenders, Joe Ingles +1, making him the 4th best player on this team now, ahead of Jordan Clarkson, even though Jordan Clarkson's also been playing very well, so I think that's kind of weird. So for the Kings, Tyrese Halliburton -1. Kind of a weird draft class this year, guys. It hasn't been a crazy draft class so far. Kind of been weak. Tyrese Halliburton is like solid and everything, but he was considered like a rookie of the year candidate, and like, I'm not saying he's bad at all. Like, he's solid. It's just, you know? Okay, so Julius Randle +1, and how the Knicks have been playing. They have the #1 win streak in the NBA all year with 8 in a row. Nobody's had an 8 in a row game streak so far this season besides the Knicks. And Julius Randle has been a part of that, multiple 40-point games in the past week. And it's just Julius Randle won player of the week as well. Like, he's been insane. I think he needs to be in the 90 overall club. I think there's no reason not. Like, they're 4th in the East, dude. And he's been clearly the best player. It's crazy. RJ Barrett goes +2 finally. I think he can still be a little higher than that, but still 82 overall, man, I'll take it. Making him the 2nd best player on this team, tied with Mitchell Robinson. And then Nerlens Noel also goes +2 at an 80 overall club. This is the first time he's been in the 80 overall club since his rookie year with the Sixers. That's insane. So for the Los Angeles Lakers, Dennis Schroeder +1, which makes sense. He is the leading scorer for this team without LeBron and Anthony Davis on the floor, and he has just been proving it. I think he could be even higher if the season continues. For the Orlando Magic, Mo Bamba +1. Welcome back, Mo. He's been playing good, and kind of, I mean, who else is going to play good in this team, if we're being honest? For the Mavericks, kind of a weird one. Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr. go -1. Yeah, haven't they been doing pretty good lately, or am I crazy? They've been playing a little better, right? Why would you downgrade players? I don't know. That's weird. Okay, the Nets, the most improved player. This roster update is Landry Shamet. Wow, +3 for him. I remember last roster update, I was like, what's going on with Landry? Like, I swore he was really good with the Clippers. And then on the Nets, he's been quiet, and you would think he'd rise up to the occasion with so many injuries on this team. And out of nowhere, averaging 20 points this week, bro. It's like he watched the roster update and he was like, bet. It's crazy. He's been doing very good. No Nuggets upgrade. I kind of feel bad for this team because of Jamal Murray. I'm also surprised that Michael Porter Jr. didn't get a good upgrade because he's been playing very good too, so very weird. The Pacers also get no change at all, but I kind of get this one. The Pelicans, the only change I found was James Johnson -1, but besides that, no change for the Pelicans either. It's a shame how they have so much talent and they're in the West, so they can't get into that playoff position. The Pistons, Isaiah Stewart +1. Now making him 1 overall away from an 80 overall, and he doesn't even have a face scan. That's super impressive. Okay, for the Raptors, somebody that's been kind of lights out lately is Yuta Watanabe, who gets a +3 upgrade for Utah. Round of applause for him. He's actually doing very, very good and not being a wannabe. Sorry. For the Rockets, Kelly Olynyk +1 from a 78 to a 79. Besides that, though, that's it for the Rockets. Actually, no, Kevin Porter Jr. -2, correction. Yeah, the biggest downgrade of this roster update. I mean, he's 20 years old and he's kind of up and down, which is expected for 20-year-olds. He's going to get even better through time. Okay, so for the Spurs, Derek White +2. The fact that he's not in the 80 overall club to me is blasphemy. I think he's a clear 3rd best player on this team. So, and I think he could even be tied with the 2nd best player, so I think that's ridiculous. For the Suns, DeAndre Ayton +1 from an 84 to an 85. This team has been on fire, as hot as the sun, and he's deserving of it. Lou Dort goes +2 from a 77 to a 79. He's also been averaging 20 points this past week. He's been fantastic, but we'll have to wait and see if they can continue that throughout the year and even next year. No change for the Timberwolves at all, at least from what I could find. For the Trailblazers, CJ McCollum -1. He does this every year, goes up and down a little bit, just by a little bit, but he's always around the 87, 86 throughout a year. Curry, so this is actually, you know, I usually don't go this off at the end of a roster update where I'm usually at like the Warriors, which is like one of the last ones. But Steph Curry +1, making him a 97 overall. Rating wise, Steph Curry is tied as the best player in the NBA with him, LeBron. I think that's it, right? Hold on, 97 over. Let's check to make sure. I never go backwards in roster updates, but let me make sure. From my understanding, Steph Curry is tied with LeBron James as the best player in the NBA. This hasn't happened since Curry's MVP season. Isn't that weird? People were trying to argue that Curry was barely top 10 just a year ago. And now we have Curry rating-wise the best player in the NBA. I think that's nuts. And if this team had a little bit of a better record, he'd be MVP this season, if you think about it. So that's nuts that we're here. Usually my thumbnails, I have like the person who has like a +5 or 6 or 7 upgrade to be the #1 player on the thumbnail. But I'm not afraid to put Steph Curry as a +1 on the thumbnail because he's now the best in the league. That's nuts. And finally, Rui Hachimura -1 from a 79 to a 78, and Davies +1, now making them tied as the 2nd best player on this team. And this team has been winning games lately, and I still think it's disrespectful that Russell Westbrook has not gone up, but that's a personal opinion. But that is all for this roster update. What do you think about your favorite team? Leave it in the comments below, and if you like this channel, give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.